to find a good woman in Medellín, Colombia, part 1. I know, people are saying there are no good women in Medellín, Colombia. Yes, there are. You're just looking in Parque Lleras or Provenza. And to be honest, it's just like in the United States. The good girls be inside, or they're handling their business, or they're family oriented, or they're at the gym. They are basically doing things that involve self-improvement. Now, some of y'all don't like women like this. Y'all say that they're masculine or they're too independent. Well, you get what you get when you don't want women that self-improve, have a mind of their own, and are trying to do something with their life. But there are plenty here in Colombia. You just have to stop looking in the wrong places. Most women are not delusional enough to think that they can find a relationship on Tinder. So you got to get off the apps. You got to go do positive things that focus on self-improvement. Maybe join some running clubs or some fitness clubs, or pick up some type of hobby. And that is where you will find the good women.
When the scene unfolds, young girls 13 years old expose themselves to any Tom, Dick, and Hank. Got more. See, Sega ain't in this new world order. Them experimenting in Atlanta, Georgia. United Nations overseas, they trained assassins. Do search and seize, ain't knocking or asking.
Some of y'all men who come to Colombia and you're all in my comments upset because I'm a woman here, an American woman here, y'all are so lame. Honestly and truly, I say get it how you live. If you have to come here to get what you want, then by all means, go where you are celebrated and not tolerated. I have absolutely no problem with American men leaving the United States and going to other countries and finding other women. Because truth be told, the American women don't want y'all. They don't want y'all. So, I mean, I'm not going to be one of the ones complaining when I know I would not date a lot of y'all. What are you supposed to do? Be single for the rest of your life? Who's that peeking in my window? I want to address these men who are in my comments like, why would a American woman be in Colombia? That's a man's world. First of all, what men? Because this is not y'all's home country. And last time I recall, when Simon Bolivar liberated Gran Colombia from the Spanish, he did not do so in the name of African American men.
A gate with a serial code was put up next. They claim that this community is so drug-free. But it don't look that way to me. Cause I can see the young bloods hanging out at the stove. 24/7 junkies looking for a hit of the blow. It's powerful. You know what else they trying to do? Make a curfew, especially for me and you.
Passport bros still in my comments going off, all because I said leave the protection at home and get it when you land here in Colombia. Well, since y'all want to go off like that, I'm finna be messy. Ladies, if your man takes a boys trip to Colombia, he for sure cheated. He for sure cheated. Now me, if my man told me he was going on a boys trip to Colombia, I would let him go, and when he got home, all his stuff would be packed and sitting outside. If you don't respond like that, you weak, girl. You weak. My mind won't allow me to not be curious. Because let me tell you, they coming down here, they sleeping all day, waking up, taking a shot, and going straight to Parque Lleras to find a new girl every single night. By the time he gets home, he hunched on at least minimum 5 different women. And guess what? I don't know why they mad about the rubbers, because they going in them raw too. They doing that raw too. They are. Falling in love with them, sending them money. Absolutely. My folk don't understand, so they don't take it serious. So yeah, since y'all wanna complain and get upset at me, I'm telling all y'all business.
But every now and then,
if you're a woman and you let your man go to Colombia for a boys trip and y'all still together, you stupid. You stupid as hell.
I wonder if the gate was put up to keep crime out of keep eye.
Part 3 to bringing a box of rubbers to Colombia will get you denied entry into the country. And I mean what I said. Now, if you look at part 2, I talked about how a lot of the times the search is random. They have to suspect you of coming here for that purpose. Now, what are some things that will lead them to suspect you for coming for that purpose? I'm going to be purposely honest. A huge group of men, particularly a huge group of darker complected men.
Listen up, little nigga. I'm talking to you.
If you go to Parque Lleras, that's all that's up in the park. And some of y'all will be like, yeah, well, other groups of men do it too. They not doing it like y'all. They not doing it to the extent that y'all do. They're not coming in these big groups and then wilding out when they get here.
What your little ass need to be going through, I fall a victim too.
They either come solo dolo or like with one other friend, and that is not the majority of what's represented in these areas of these working girls. Y'all are the majority of what's represented within these working girls. So when y'all are asking, are they racially profiling? Let your common sense answer that question.
I shouldn't smoke so much, but I do with the crew.
Furthermore, the argument of, well, it's legal. Look, I'm not here to tell you what you should and should not be doing. I don't care. I never see y'all out here because I don't go in the areas. The times that I have gone into those areas, I do see that it's majority of y'all. I'm just being honest. But for the most part, I don't see y'all on a day-to-day because I avoid those areas. But at the same time, the Colombian people, they see it differently. You have to understand the places that y'all are going and partaking in these things used to be places where they could go with their families, and they feel like it's being taken over. The reality of the matter is they're sick of all of it. They're sick of all of it. They're sick of all of it. And the news here might not portray it as that. But again, this goes back to a lot of y'all not being able to speak Spanish. I give travel Spanish classes. You can register with the link in my bio or text ready in the description. Okay, shameless plug.
I won't out of this hole. I'm in the cell under attack.
Y'all are not understanding that these people really do not want y'all here. The only people that want y'all here are the girls who are working girls. They made it legal so that these working girls could have protections and so that they couldn't be exploited by bad people. They couldn't have fathomed that a group of men from another country fetishize these women so much because they watch so much pornography, and that y'all fetishize light skin and women who are racially ambiguous so much that y'all would flood their country in droves the way that y'all do. Why you always talking about black men? You got some type of grudge against black men? These are the dumb questions that y'all ask under my videos when I talk about dating here. And honestly and truly, if that's the conclusion that you come to after watching my videos in their entirety, I'm just gonna assume that your brain is not functioning at its full capacity.
When you listen to the song Cell Therapy, what they're really talking about is, as black people, or black men in this case, being tagged with a computer chip like you heard in the last verse so that you can pay for your meal, or being trapped with a wall that's, you don't know if it's to keep crime out or keep yours in. I'm not saying that this young lady is doing that per se or doing it on purpose, but it is very interesting that she is in Colombia making content, not necessarily just about her life, because some of those videos are getting a little bit of traction, but the great amount of traction coming from her videos are coming from her talking about passport bros and talking down on passport bros, saying that guys are trying to talk to her and that passport bros down there ruining Colombia. It's kind of interesting because you wonder what's the real motivation for her channel. Look at this logic, for instance.
Now, ladies, the men said that y'all going to Jamaica and y'all are paying for Peekin. That's what they saying. They saying they seen y'all in videos. Y'all paying to get rubbed down, and y'all are paying for pain. Are y'all really doing that? Y'all getting on my nerves in the comments with these weak comparisons. So now there are a lot of passport bros comparing men coming to Colombia for the purposes of sex tourism to women going on girls trips to Jamaica. And to that I say, that's a hell of a reach. Y'all travel here specifically to engage in sex tourism. Most of the time when women go on a girls trip, they don't go to sleep around. What usually happens in a situation like this is they might just like meet somebody when they're out and about, but they're not running through a different man every single night or out just sniffing out men. You know, very rarely do women do that. And then even most of the time, even on a girls trip, all of the girls are not participating in that kind of activity, right? Now, to me, that's not the same thing as sex tourism. I said this before. There are men who come to Colombia to enjoy the country for vacation, and they might meet a woman here and, you know, whatever happens, happens, right? That's not the same thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the people who come to Colombia. Y'all stay locked up in a hotel until it's time to go outside and either have brunch or find some cat. Then you leave and complain that the country has nothing else to offer when all you did was indulge in sex tourism. Furthermore, let's be clear. A woman never has to leave her country to find peen. No woman in any country on this earth has to leave their country to go find a man that's willing to lay down and sleep with them. We can do that. We can find that when we can't get a meal from McDonald's. That's the easiest thing to come by. And to think that women have to go all the way to Jamaica to do that is delusional.
The reason why I pointed her logic is because, well, why are you down there? Speaking about passport bros, if you're down there living your salsa dancing best life, then why are you worried about passport bros? And why do you have on a halter top that's showing pretty much all of your shoulders and your cleavage, knowing that you're talking about passport bros who are going to Colombia? That it doesn't add up. But in this space, we understand that she's doing it because she wants attention, and she probably wants the attention of some of those passport bros that are the guys that are the type of guys that she likes. And I'm pretty sure that she doesn't really like seeing the kind of guys she would like to date go off with other young ladies in Colombia and then go back home and not really give her a lot of oxygen. But the bigger problem, I would say, is that some of the guys who are, as some people put it, game goofy, are going down there and giving her a lot of oxygen simply because they don't speak any Spanish. And so they're just looking for any kind of young lady to flex on, and she uses those opportunities, I would imagine, to flex her disdain for the kinds of guys that she deems as below her. But all things put together, it's very interesting that she cares so much about these guys doing all these clandestine things in Colombia when we have plenty of guys already speaking about this. I will say one thing I appreciate about channels like her, and by the way, her name is Mariah Sincere, so I'm sure some of you guys are thirsty, you're going to track her down, but I appreciate the fact that she's speaking about these supposedly undesirable black men, because it's a reminder to us as black men that no matter what we hear from the world around us, we have some inherent value because people care about what we're doing and where we're going. In effect, we're always going to be getting chased.
Trying to enter Colombia with a box of rubbers will get you sent back home on the next plane, and I'm not even joking. They will send you home on suspicion of sex tourism. And I know a lot of y'all fellas think that people like to throw salt on y'all's game, but I'm telling the truth. They just sent 10 Americans back home last week, but they've been doing this. But they sent them back home on suspicion of sex tourism. And part of how they determine whether or not you're there for sex is, one of the ways they do it is they go through your phone and they look through your luggage. And if you have anything that's considered sexual paraphernalia, then that gives them probable cause to suspect that you are coming there on sex tourism and send you home.
If you consider yourself a true 1990s AT alien and you refer to this song as "Who's That Peeping in My Window," you might need to turn in your AT alien card, because Right after Outkast had set the South on fire, Goody Mob did it again with their first release called Cell Therapy. And if you heard the song and you listened to it on your CD player, you know better. They offered a cerebral approach to hip-hop from the South that many people weren't really expecting after, of course, Outkast had done it the first time. But they did it in a way that was unique, and, well, it was our first introduction into CeeLo Green. But them singing about being tracked and building walls and cages and fences to keep us out or to monitor our movements seemed like conspiracy theory talk at the time. But as we look more and more at this current environment, when we're starting to see black men say, you know, let me go look around the world and see where I can find the best deal for myself, we're seeing that we're being tracked. But it's maybe not just by some authorities, but it's by other young ladies that are set to follow us to different places around the globe, and not necessarily just live their lives or go in their own direction, but to arrive there and tell us how dusty we are, how much they don't want us, how much we're messing up different places, or even the fact that real men don't have to travel to get access to young ladies. Instead of just enjoying their lives, they are essentially trying to build fences everywhere that black men choose to go, which is a very interesting approach, because I would imagine if things are so amazing and awesome, wouldn't you just go overseas and forget about black men and not even mention them? But here we are, seeing that young ladies with very skimpy tops on are racing to places where black men are and peeping in our window. Very interesting now, isn't it? Maybe black men have more value than we admit to ourselves, and other people can see it, and we're just learning to start doing it ourselves. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.